Now, listening to you and myself and many people think, oh, it's quite a good business, easy to get successful. And I must say, in the first 3 years, I didn't draw a salary, but lucky my wife could support me while I was trying to start something new. And even when I started to build my team, there were times I had to draw out of my mortgage, my bond, to pay salaries. And I thought, well, it's dangerous doing this. But those were the challenges and obstacles that I faced, was in my business. It was just getting to, once I got past 3 years, I realized
Yeah.
I could make it. And I learned about recurring services and that.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed that many of us have experienced some obstacles. So, you come into this business and you think it's a franchise, it's just going to work. There's a lot of effort, learning and things like that. So maybe if you have any that you could share, like what obstacles that you came across and how you actually overcame them.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I think the first 3 years are really critical. And, sometimes I get some calls, people that are interested in joining our network. And I always think there's 3 core competences what you need. And the number one is really you need to be able to have a good, healthy pipeline of new opportunities. So the sales side, you need to be able to build the trust with someone who's contacted you or who's talking to you that you can win a project. So I think that's the number one to get the business started. And when the business is starting, now you really need to be able to manage projects. You need to be able to fulfill what you promise to the client, and you will need to do it for several projects. It's not just a single project. Typically, what makes enough revenue and margin for you. You have to manage several projects. You can add people in this capacity very easy. On the sales side, you can add it too. But at the end, it comes down to you, especially when you start the business. And a prospect is asking, can I trust this person? Do I believe what it is? WSI helps a lot. WSI, you can have all the references that we have, and there's great support. But at the end, it's you who is in contact with them. So that's really number one. And number two is the project management. And number three is really to look at your business. Your business changes every year. And in our case, I was very aggressive in the first year. When we moved to Napa, I had no relationships. So I had to really get the business name, get the WSI name established in the community. I did a lot of networking. And I honestly, everyone who couldn't run away fast enough, I sold something. My barber shop, I did SEO for him, and he gave me haircuts. But it was a getting the business started. I think nothing is more frustrating than now you got the great education and I'm not getting prospects, I'm not getting clients. So I was very successful. I think I had 30 clients in the first year. And again, all kinds of flavors. And that's when my wife and I talked. I said, I need a project manager. This is no longer, I can no longer handle it. So that's when we started growing, and she joined the business, which was a great move, which was also risky because she had a nice income. So we made this decision, and now we were both depending on WSI, and we had to go into our savings and these kind of things, but it paid off. It paid off really big. And I think year number 3 was the first really good year where we saw a good uptick, and we were winning the right clients we wanted to have. And I think since then, we had a pretty good and successful growth in the business. We added, in year 4, we added the first employee, or actually year 3, and now we're growing. And still COVID-19, we had a little bit an impact in the big uncertainty in the second quarter, but I see some really good positive momentum, especially e-commerce and video conferencing and getting found online. These are all things that people need now.
Absolutely. And the e-commerce, I've never seen so many couriers running around delivering everything. It doesn't matter what you want, you can get it now. And I must say, if anything positives come out of this, it's the use of technology to make your life easier, and I think it's going to change us going forward. People can accept this technology now.
Absolutely.
So, what skills do you felt that you brought? Because, I'm listening to you, and your parents and your grandparents were entrepreneurs and had businesses, and you went, the corporate route. So obviously when you started this, I know that, I know the skills from my business was amazing from my corporate route. If I started as an entrepreneur, I can see it with my daughter. She's just missing some things that are not there. What did you see that helped you really get it together?
I would say probably what I learned from my family is being very focused on clients. We're in a service business, and we provide a service that hopefully makes a difference for their business. So you have to be very, very client focused. And you sometimes have to say no or manage things, but you always try to find a win-win situation. So I think the client focus is very important. I think in my case and my wife's case, we both have worked for large companies. You learn a lot. Yeah. This really comes down to managing, having good processes, always try to deliver top quality results, because that at the end is what makes a difference for your client. So it's this aspiration to get well organized and be able to deliver top quality, and that also goes to your employees. If you have your employees, so the people management, but if they feel that the owners know what they do and why they do things, that helps everyone. So I think it's probably client focus, getting, let's say, management experience, working for large companies. That's probably the biggest things that I think that helps us a lot.
Yeah. Now, you're coming a long way, and like with me, I've got some goals. I'm actually trying to ease out of being not the business too much, and putting people in place to run it. Where do you, what goals have you want to aim for, like in the short term, in the next year or so?
So we definitely want to continue our growth path. We have since year 3. We have always had a good growth, but since year 3, we really had a significant growth path. So we definitely want to grow the business, and I feel very comfortable in the industries that we are addressing. We're starting to focus a little bit more on some selective industries, but we're not saying no to others. But in our case, we are in wine country. We work a lot with wineries, and we have established some really good references in the tourism business. Tour companies. You mentioned the hot air balloon company. So that's a very interesting niche, and I feel. Still, with COVID going on, I feel comfortable that we will continue to grow our team. That we at the end, it's $1 million business plus that we envision, and that also is starting to build a great foundation. I still envision that they're going to work for a couple of years, but WSI should become also an asset for our retirement, and whatever model it's going to be, but I envision that in 10 years I'm less involved compared to what I'm doing now. So you're right, you need to find the right people that run the business more for you. But I can also see a nice combination between less direct project work, maybe more strategic work, maybe more on the educational side, because I know myself and I know my wife, we will not be just sitting in the rocking chair and do nothing. So it could be a nice smooth handover process with some real value.
Yeah, I found that myself. I keep on saying I can do SEO. I'm good at that. Personally good at that. I'm not a bad copywriter as well, so I've got that skill. And these are things I've learned, in the business. I'm more strong on sales, and I love training and speaking and stuff like that. But I can see as you get too old, like you become a radio face, then you can get behind the scenes, still keep going. And I don't see myself stopping. I enjoy it. And I said to my wife, well, this morning we went for a walk, and I said, next month, if I stayed at the bank I was working in, I was retiring. That was it. And right now, I want to do more. Actually, I don't even want to stop. I just want to do more. So it's a fantastic change of lifestyle, I think, as well, and motivation, because it's always changing.
Yeah, and it's really what the nice thing is. And again, it's running your own business. Determining your own destiny. You can dial it the way how you want it, and that's really nice. And you know, I think at the end, if it comes back, if you think about it, it's a lot about self-employed or running your own business. It's a lot about yourself, and it's also a lot about how you manage yourself, how you manage your goals. You need to have goals, you need to have a plan, but you have the opportunity to massage the plan the way how you want it to go.
Yeah, exactly. My plan is always, what are my grandchildren doing today? Yeah, block it out of the diary. And then I'll start my job. So if a new IC knocked on your door today and said, Andreas, what advice would you give someone new who's starting in this role? And what would you say?
I would say think about who are the companies that you want to work with, who are the relationships that you already have. A lot of opportunities might be in your past. You might have worked in an industry where you have the expertise, and now you add your digital education to that industry, and you might have relationships you can leverage. So think about who would be a perfect client for me, and what do I need? And it might be an industry where you have been in or not. For example, I'll give you my example. When we moved to Napa, wine. We moved here because we like wine. But honestly, I had no idea what the wine business is in the US. So my wife and I, we went to the university and took some evening education to understand the wine business. So we can speak the language. We can talk to the people, and I understand what they mean when they use specific words. So I think about really as a new think about what is your client you want to go after. And maybe it's family members, maybe it's the church members, maybe it's because you have a relationship, and the easier it is to leverage an existing relationship, it's easier to start a business. Or if you have a specific know-how, like Eric in the bank industry, he has been there like yourself. If you can leverage something that you have been, I couldn't, my clients were the big telecommunication operators, but that's important to think about.
That's right. I couldn't leverage anything. I came out and I said, whoa, I better go and speak to people. And all I did was I quickly found out if I could speak to more than one person at a time, it was more effective for me. And that's when I started 811 concept. 8 people for 1 hour at 1 o'clock. I used to invite them for lunch. I used to buy them a sandwich. And then we would just talk about business, internet marketing in those days. And I found, because it was like a nice conversation, that 2 or 3 of them would come to me afterwards and then say, can you help me? And it was another way of me sort of knocking on your door and saying, I don't see you have a website, can I help you? So,
and I think that's very important. And these opportunities that you described, getting people together, because one thing I learned, and I have been involved in sales a lot in my life, is the first thing you need to sell is yourself.
Yeah.
You need to sell yourself. You need to build trust with people. So you need to find a way, be it a chamber membership, be it some seminars, some webinars. I'm doing nearly every month a webinar. Since COVID-19 specifically, I have done them on a 2 weeks rhythm, and people are contacting us because they have heard about it, they have been in it, the recordings are out. So it's a new way of building trust. You can use video conferences or videos, that what we do right now. So it's first about yourself, then it's about what is the company about. Then it's about WSI, and WSI has a lot to offer in that case. And then the third thing is, now I understand what you need. Now I talk about SEO, and now I talk about the website or whatever it is. So I think it's really about yourself. Look in the mirror and think about what makes you special, and how can I connect with people? What do I have to? Maybe I have some interesting background I'd like to share with people to build, to open the communication and build the bridge.
Those are very good thoughts that you're passing on here, because it's almost inward looking into yourself to find your strengths and then use them, and it's because it's much more comfortable, when you know yourself. So
I'll give you one example, what really worked well for us. And looking in the mirror, I did it. And
yes,
when I'm looking at the sales side actually has two very important components. There is a lead generation, the cold calling, talking to someone in a network meeting, making them interested for the first meeting. And now you got the opportunity in the first meeting to build the trust, to talk about the company and these kind of stuff. I know I am okay in the first part, but I'm not really good. I hate cold calls. I'm not the best networker, but I found people, and in my case, when we moved here, I didn't really know business people in Napa a lot. I found people that have these relationships, and we formed a partnership. I have people that are very good in this area, and now they can bring me into the first meeting. And I know that I have people trust me very quickly. That's nice. So on selling myself and selling the company, that's something that works pretty well. But I know the first part, I'm okay, but not great.
Yeah, I'm very much similar. I'm very uncomfortable with the cold calling. I can do it because I'm experienced enough to take no without a problem. But definitely, like you're saying, when I was in corporate, and I used to have salespeople who take me in. They make the meeting, and then when I came in, it was easy. And I relate to how you say that. So we're nearing the end, and a couple of questions more. Like, what would your motto be? Like when I asked this question once, and one of them said, "Well, Francois, you tell me what your motto is." And I said, "Well, you might not have caught me off guard because my motto is never accepting second best." And I try and teach my grandchildren that. I try and teach my staff that. I'm saying, if you put something in there that's not your best, then you must do it again. You must actually, we're not going to accept second best, and that's what I like to look at. And what would you be? Because I see you're very strong in how you run your team.
Yeah, I have one slide that I show, the second slide I show when I introduce WSI, and I say our mission is to simplify the internet and taking the complexity out of what you as a business need. And then I say the internet is actually really complex. And that's what we do, so that you can focus on your core business. You focus on your core business, we focus on simplifying the internet for your business. And then I say, our passion is growing your business. That's our passion. That's what drives us. And I think it really underlines fundamentally how we look at the business. And, our team, we are humans. We also like to have fun. And, it's nothing nicer than having a new client, seeing the data and seeing the results, seeing happy clients. That's what really, I think, as a team, as a company, I think that's what our motto is. Making our clients successful, simplify the internet for you that you can concentrate on your core business.
But I like what you said there. Passion is to grow your business, and I must say that's what I love doing, is showing those results, or from SEO, and that it's showing the growth, and I think you need to show the client that you really want to do this for them, not just, it's not just a secret sauce that you're working on. It's actually something that they will benefit from.
Absolutely. And I remember the balloon company, we really changed the way how they did business. They had a lot of call-based business in the past, and now their biggest business is coming directly from the website. And it made such a big difference, and that's what satisfies us.
Right. Now, this next question, I ask it for everybody. I say, if we went to happy hour, what would you order? And for people who know me, they know that I got this big collection of Jack Daniels at my house, but I hardly drink it. I just love it. And if I drink it, it's once a year when I go fishing with my friends, we'll drink some Jack. So, and then they say, what would you drink? And I say, no, red wine. That's all I drink.
That's probably my answer too. We live in Napa Valley, and I think we have the best networking events in the world. There's always wine involved, and so, no, it's we really, I would say 10, 15 years ago, I really fell in love with wine, and I really started to appreciate a well-made wine and really learning about, you know, the differences and this kind of. So that's my number one choice. You know, I'm German, so I don't mind a good beer. So, but I would say probably default is a nice glass of wine.
Yeah, perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, you know, we're lucky. Well, we weren't lucky and lucky. Our government stopped all alcohol and all cigarettes during the lockdown
Oh, wow.
for 3 months. Nobody could buy cigarettes, and you couldn't buy any alcohol. And so I had a selection. It lasted me, well, it was first for a month, and the last week I had nothing to drink. Then they opened it up and they said, okay, you can buy. And I went out and said, they're never going to catch me again. So I bought some wine, and true's not, but 1 week later, they stopped it again. And so I rushed down to the garage, and I came back, and Mariana said, "Yo, I've just counted. I only got 170 bottles left. So we're good until November."
Yeah, I tell you, our wine fridge got pretty scarily low during these times.
Yeah, so now they're still talking about closing it down again. So thanks so much for spending this time with us. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. If you could be anywhere else than this half hour you spoke with me today in the world, where would you go?
Actually, it's interesting. I was thinking about it. You know, last week before the fires really happened, we went to Lake Tahoe. It's a nice mountain area about 2-3 hours away from here. It's high mountain, and we were camping, and unfortunately the fire started. So I would love to be out there, and you know, camping is brings me back into nature, and you know, this is another thing. I like to be out there in nature, and you know, sitting in your camp chair, maybe with a glass of wine in the evening, and seeing the stars. And you know, you're 2,000 meter high there at the Lake Tahoe area. You see the Milky Way, and that makes you feel small. And this is good that we are just a small little element in the overall world. So that's one. I think the other place I really enjoyed, and I learned it, is Hawaii. It's just so relaxing. And probably I have a Mai Tai and sitting out on the beach. So these are the two places where I would be.
I must say that Hawaii, I managed to go there once. It's exactly the opposite side of the world of where I am today. It's 12 hours time difference. And we spent 5 days while I was doing around the world travel, and it was amazing. But the camping, you know, is what I love. And we caravan a lot in our family. And last year, we spent maybe 3 months in our caravan with our grandchildren on their holidays.
Nice.
And exactly what you say, sit out there, watch the stars, have a little fire. That's just perfect, you know. And actually, I can work from there. I have my internet with me, and we can still keep going.
We did the same. Connected to our cell phones and did a little bit. But it actually works. And, you know, my dream maybe in 10 years to have a camper and, you know, do a little bit, know that you have people that can run the business more self-sustainable, and you do a little bit and be more out there. That would be a nice dream.
I see Eric Cook does that. He's got his RV, and I notice is once or twice a year he goes for a long trip, and he's kitted out his office, everything. So it's really good. It's a nice lifestyle that you can make it, that you know, we can be mobile, which is really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Andreas, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It was amazing listening to you. Thank you for sharing all your stories and some really golden nuggets for anybody who's going to listen to this one day. I'm sure they're going to learn a lot from it. Thank you so much.
François, thanks for having me.
Okay. Right. So I'll see you again soon. I won't be able to talk much after this because I've got another meeting. It's like one after the other. But, you know, stay safe. And hopefully, if we have a global conference, we're going to see each other there. And next year, maybe we can get together.
Definitely. Same for you. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.